Welcome to Lesson 9 of our course on Philippine Indigenous Communities. Today we will talk about rights and consequences, and we will focus on attitudes and taking action. First, we have to emphasize that attitudes toward human rights are shaped by social, cultural, political, and historical contexts that is given. Prejudice, bias, and cultural relativism often influence how people understand and respond to human rights issues. So in this lesson, we will focus on developing critical thinking skills to assess these attitudes and identify ways to take meaningful action, both individually and collectively. So by the end of this lesson, students should be able to, one, evaluate different attitudes toward human rights, recognizing factors like prejudice, bias, and cultural relativism. Second, articulate strategies for promoting and defending human rights through individual and collective efforts. Now, let's proceed to understanding attitudes toward human rights. First, let us take a look at prejudice and bias. When we say prejudice, we refer to preconceived opinion not based on reason or experience, often leads to discrimination. And when we say bias, we are referring to a tendency to favor or oppose something, often unfairly. So this can be personal or institutional. For example, indigenous students in public schools being stereotyped as uncivilized or backward due to their appearance or language. Another issue is cultural relativism. When we say cultural relativism, we refer to a belief that cultural practices should be understood based on a society's own context. While important for respecting diversity, extreme relativism can be used to justify harmful traditional practices. Take, for example, justifying child marriage or gender-based discrimination in some communities under the guise of tradition. Letter C, impact of attitudes on indigenous communities. Negative attitudes result in exclusion, underrepresentation, and loss of cultural identity. Whereas positive attitudes promote intercultural understanding, respect, and cooperation. Let's take a case in Mindanao. The Bakwit School movement, where displaced Lumad students and teachers were accused of subversion, reflects societal fear and misunderstanding rather than recognition of human rights and the right to education. Now, let's proceed to taking action that is from awareness to advocacy. First, let us explore individual actions. So we have to educate ourselves as well as others about indigenous rights. Speak out against discrimination and misrepresentation. Support indigenous products, languages, and cultural expressions. Uh, Let us take an example of university students organizing cultural appreciation events that center on Lumad weaving and storytelling. Now let's proceed to collective actions. One is community mobilizations and solidarity network. Legal support for IP's land rights claims. Policy advocacy for inclusive education and participatory governance. So As an example, the Save Our Schools network campaigns for the opening and protection of Lumad schools across Mindanao can be cited. Now we have the institution, the individual, the collective, and now let's take a look at the institutional support. NGOs, CSOs, religious groups, and schools play a role in fostering human rights-based approaches. Promotion of free, prior, and informed consent in development, planning, and law enforcement. So as an example, legal assistance provided by Ateneo Human Rights Center and alternative law groups to IP communities contesting illegal mining operations. Now, let's proceed to strategies for promoting human rights respectfully. One, dialogues, not impositions. So we need to encourage intercultural dialogue that values both human rights and indigenous knowledge systems. Second is community empowerment. We need to help communities assert their rights through capacity building, legal literacy, and self-governance support. And third, policy reform and accountability. So we need to push for reforms that ensure recognition of customary law, protection of human rights defenders, and access to justice. So as conclusion, we need to emphasize that changing attitudes begin with understanding, recognizing biases and prejudices, and challenging them with empathy and critical thought. Because human rights are not just legal concepts, they are live realities for indigenous peoples facing discrimination, displacement, and exclusion. As future leaders, educators, and advocates, we must challenge harmful narratives, promote inclusive mindsets, and stand in solidarity with indigenous communities. Through education, advocacy, and cultural respect, we can build a society where human rights are upheld for all. Thus, action rooted in understanding leads to justice grounded in dignity. So for further exploration of the topic, we can explore or take a look at these references that we have provided. And next meeting, we will proceed to our next lesson, that is lesson 10, about principles, philosophies, and application of traditional knowledge. Thank you and see you then.